Your Highness, Your Excellencies, fellow leaders in the community, and particularly the global leaders, or future global leaders in the room, our youth. It's so funny that I've known Turner for the last 5 years of my life, and I always get the opportunity to go before him, and I never take it. I should have took it today, because he always gives, I think, a very concise reflection of what needs to happen in order for us to fully move the needle forward to place every child in school. So it's interesting that at this very moment in history, we are faced with the largest population the world has ever seen. Young people, as Turner mentioned, who are in many cases, over-connected, and are connecting across borders and changing and creating solutions for some of the world's biggest problems. But it's also a population that is struggling with poverty, homelessness, unemployment or unemployability, and also a population that is faced with child marriage and a host of violent issues in their chosen community. So it's even more important why we reflect on the importance of today, because it gives the opportunity for what I consider the individuals who are closest to the problem to be closest to the solution, which are our young people. So I think it's even more important for us, the adults in the room, to not take what they're saying lightly, to not think it's cute because they're young people, but really see it as an opportunity for us to elevate the stories and experiences of these young people to reflect the potential of what education can mean in the global world. These are young people who are really going to think about how do we solve education? How do we make sure that every young person, regardless of whatever community, zip code, village that they come from, that they have access and that they're able to fully participate in society? And I have to give them a round of applause because over the last day and a half, I met some of the most amazing, well-rounded, articulate, and aware, self-aware young people who are reflected so much passion, but also so much professionalism. And I have to say, I hope to be like you when I grow up, because I think all of you represent what I would expect for my sisters, my brothers, and other young people that I know back in my community to stand for. So if you can all join me in giving these young people a round of applause. And though it took 32 hours to get here, I'm truly honored because I think this forum is a great space for us to give young people the mantle and the baton to really lead on some of the most dire issues impacting our generation. Currently now, more than 40% of the world's population is under the age of 25. These are young people who some are educated, but for the most part are lacking the basic tools and resources they need to fully be active in our society. So I think it's extremely important that we allow these young people to create the solutions that we need for not only change here within this country, but also around the world. Now, I come from a community, how many of you have heard of Philadelphia? Okay, a few of you. So I come from a community where more than 30,000 people are killed by guns every single year. Where the United States currently only represents less than 5% of the world's population, but we houses 25% of our prisoners in the United States. So I come from a community for many young people, they only see two options to leave their community: the bullet or prison. Now, if you're a 15 or 16-year-old growing up in a community like that, can you imagine your lack of enthusiasm or your lack of hope for the future? And I was one of those young people. I grew up listening to the sound of gunshots and the sound of police cars driving through my neighborhood daily. It wasn't surprising to hear that someone had got arrested. It wasn't surprising to hear that someone had died. It might surprise many of you, but I come from a family of 16 brothers and sisters. Large family, I know. So if anyone's looking for an extra brother or sister, I try to give them away at least once a year. So I come from a really large family, and I have 10 older brothers, and my brothers really, for me, represented leadership because they gave up their childhood so early on in order to make sure that me and my younger brothers and sisters had the food we need, the clothes we need to fully be able to go to school and live our lives. But by the time I was 16 years old, I had watched as all 10 of my older brothers get swept into our criminal justice system. I had watched as family and friends get their smiles strangled by our very society for the lack of jobs and opportunity. And it wasn't until 2005 when my 20-year-old brother Andre was shot and killed in Philadelphia that I saw a way for me as a young person to not only change my own trajectory, but change the trajectory of my community. And at 15 years old, I was challenged by an adult who said, you can either decide to be a victim or you can get up and do something about it. I chose to do something about it. I chose to move beyond the expectations of my community. I chose to rise above the expectations and the achievements of my predecessors. And through that, I was able to graduate from high school as the first person in my family and later going on to college. And over the last 5 years, I had the opportunity to work with Turner in a number of capacities that have allowed us to meet young people all over the world. I have traveled beyond my zip code, which is not a fleet that many of my fellow classmates and community members were able to do. I've been places and spaces and met people, particularly amazing young people, who have challenged me to reevaluate my own place in society, but also the role of young people to change society. These are our future leaders of today, tomorrow, and beyond. If we do not create a space where they can fully cultivate those leadership qualities, I think we have a problem. And over the last day and a half, I've met and engaged and answered questions, some tough questions by some of the young people. And because of the knowledge that they've all reflected, it gives me hope for the future. It gives me hope that there's a possibility that young people can be more than we have ever been able to accomplish for them. And so I think as we go throughout the next few hours, as all of you go throughout your deliberations, making negotiations with each other, finding opportunities to compromise, we remember that the issue of global education and the issue to place every child in primary school education is bigger than ourselves, is bigger than our own individual stories. But the question is, how do we use our stories to elevate the issue? And that's why I think we need to recognize that young people are the experts of their own experience. We can no longer leave them out of the conversation when issues about them are being made, or when decisions about them are being made. I'm a firm believer that silence will not save us. So to the young people, there will be times in your life when you will feel a gut feeling, as Turner mentioned yesterday, that something is just not right. And you will question yourself. What can I do? Who can I talk to? What can I say to change this? I don't want you to feel like your age is a limitation. I want you to recognize that you have something to contribute to society. And I hope the other adults in this room are ready to listen. I also want to leave you with a quote that I live by, which is that any society, any nation, will be judged how it treats its most weakest members, its last, its least, and its littlest. So the question is, not should we place every child in primary education, but when will we do so? And what is our role in making it happen? Thank you for including me in this forum, and I look forward to participating in the activities moving forward.